This is Andi Purewal for Boxing News. I'm joined by light heavyweight champion David Benavidez over Zoom. David, it's good to see you. You're a matter of weeks out now. How are you feeling? How are you doing?
I'm feeling great. You know what I mean? I'm feeling really good. Very excited for this fight. This is my first fight in Saudi Arabia, Riyadh season, and it's against a good opponent, against Anthony Yarde. And I've been working extremely hard for this, man. I'm ready. I'm excited, and we're 100% ready to go.
Another fight, obviously up at light heavyweight now. How are you feeling overall, adjusting to that 175 division?
I've been feeling good. This is my second fight at 175, so I think my body's already filling out pretty good into this weight class. You know, it's been a jump I've been wanting to make for a long, long time. So I'm happy that I'm at 175 now, and I'm very excited for these new opportunities coming up. And Anthony Yarde is my first step into reaching greatness. You know, after this fight, there's a lot of big fights on the horizon. So we're excited and we're ready to conquer the light heavyweight division.
You're a big guy, David, and a lot of people for years used to say, "How on earth does he make 168?" How refreshing does it feel now that you can just focus more so on kind of instead of maybe training to make weight, you're now training for a fight a bit more where you can focus on that side of things instead of the cutting down process.
Yeah, it feels way better, man. I was at 168 for almost 11 years. So my body naturally grew out of that weight class. And now that I'm at 175, I feel like I can focus more on building more muscle and building other stuff. And it's easier. It's more refreshing. It's it feels better not to lose as much weight to get down to 168. Because once I get down to 168, you definitely have to suffer to get down for me to get down to that weight. So it feels good. I feel refreshed. And I'm really happy.
Just before we come on to the Anthony Yarde fight, I haven't had a chance to ask you about the David Morrell victory. And obviously, I know he's back in February, but there seemed to become a bit of a heated rivalry in the build-up to it. How, kind of important was that for yourself to come through that fight in such emphatic fashion and to really kind of make a stamp on the 175 division?
It was definitely really important because my first fight at 175 it was against a fighter that a lot of people said I was ducking. A lot of people said I wouldn't fight. So it was really satisfying. It was a satisfying victory, not only just coming up to 175, but also beating the guy that a lot of people said that I was running from. At the end of the day, I'm here to make a statement, and I'm here to let everybody know that I'm the best in the division. And it was a great fight overall too. It was a great event, and I'm just happy that I can back up everything I say I'm going to do.
Obviously, now you challenge Anthony Yarde, who his previous defeats have been to Sergey Kovalev, Artur Beterbiev, and Lyndon Arthur. But the defeat to Lyndon Arthur, he got the result back and beat him in a rematch. Um, and he's beat him in the trilogy as well. So now you look at it and you look at Anthony Yarde and the challenges with him. What impresses you in Anthony Yarde as an opponent?
What impresses me is he has good defense, he has good counter abilities, and he's a strong fighter. He has a big heart as well. Um, you know, for me, I don't. It's not. I'm not them fighters that try to discredit other fighters because I think I have to get the respect where respect is due. And Anthony Yarde is a great fighter, and he's gonna be a great win on my resume once I beat him November 22nd.
Anthony is somebody who, although he's maybe fallen short at the top level of the division, he certainly gives it his all when he steps between the ropes. How much does that excite you to know that you're not facing somebody who's just coming to kind of cover up and allow you to tee off on them? He's coming to win. He's coming in there with his own bad intentions.
It definitely excites me because these are the fighters that elevate me to the next level. The fighters that go in there and want to win. I always say that once I get in there with a good fight, my style elevates even more, and it's going to be a good fight. At the end of the day, this is what I'm here for. We're the new age gladiators, and I definitely want to show the people that I'm worthy of becoming champion and calling myself a champion. I'm going to go in there, and I'm not going to shy away from no fight. It's going to be a war, but I'm definitely going to come out with my hand raised.
He was obviously stopped against Sergey Kovalev and Artur Beterbiev, but the Beterbiev fight in particular, is that something in your mind you want to try and stop Anthony Yarde and to do it in more emphatic fashion than what both of those guys did?
Yeah, that would definitely be something that I'm looking to do. But at the end of the day, like I said, I'm just gonna go in there. I'm gonna follow my game plan. I'm gonna listen to my trainers and my coaches. And once I do that, I think that'll be enough to break Anthony Yarde down and get the stoppage. But if the stoppage doesn't come, it doesn't come. But my main goal is to dominate the fight.
I know it's always one fight at a time, David, and you might be a little bit frustrated or sick of hearing other fighters named and some fights which haven't come off for you for no fault of your own, but just haven't been able to get them over the line. But have you had any assurances at all that provided the win, if you secure the win against Anthony Yarde in November, you get an Artur Beterbiev or Dmitry Bivol fight for all of the titles?
No, I haven't been assured anything. And like I said, but it doesn't really bother me. The good thing about me is I got time on my side. I'm 28 years old, so I still have a long, long time. You know, if anything, these guys, they're kind of getting out of their prime. So I'm barely stepping into my prime. If it doesn't happen now, it'll definitely happen later. But the good thing is we got a lot of good names on the table. We got Dmitry Bivol. We got Artur Beterbiev. We got Zurdo Ramirez. You know what I mean? There's a lot of good fights on the table. So I'm in a good position right now. You know, I'm basically just getting my experience, you know, beating the top guys off the division. But, you know, sooner or later, I'm definitely will get my shot.
Are you disappointed that Beterbiev isn't fighting on the November 22nd card now, just because obviously it would have given you the chance to share a similar date and people might have thought he might have lined up a fight perfectly for you going into next year?
I mean, I'm not really disappointed. I'm just I think it's a little bit unfortunate for the fans because, you know, they would have had, you know, Artur Beterbiev was a great fighter. So it would have been, you know, it definitely would have been a treat having him on that card as well. But as disappointed, I'm not really disappointed. You know what I mean? It would have been cool to have him on the card, but, you know, if he's not on there, you know, it is what it is.
Stylistically, David, people might look at both Beterbiev and Bivol and yourself and think maybe yourself and Beterbiev might be a bit more fan friendly, whereas you and Bivol might be a bit more of kind of you have to work each other out a little bit more. Which fight would you prefer if you was to take the titles out of the equation?
Mm, I think Beterbiev would be a more fan-friendly fighter. It'd be a harder fight. But honestly, either of them must be a great fight. You know, Beterbiev is more of a rugged in your face type of fighter. Beterbiev is, I mean, Bivol is more of a you have to go and hunt him down. But for me, I'm willing to fight whoever. I think of more fan friendly fight would be me versus Beterbiev. That would be a great fight. But even me with Bivol would be a great fight too. I sparred Bivol a lot of times, so I mean I know that would be a great fight. So either of them would be a good fight to be honest.
What do you remember about that sparring with Dmitry Bivol, David?
Remember he was a good fighter, man. The last time I sparred him, I heard him. I heard him back in the fourth round. But he's a great fighter. I don't take nothing away from him. The last time I sparred him, I was 22 years old, so that was about like 6 years ago. But I do remember. I remember that you know there are some opportunities I could take advantage of in Bivol. But he's a good fighter. You know, other overall, he's a great fighter. I definitely you know have to train hard for that training camp and be ready because he comes a fight.
You mentioned there how you hurt him in sparring, David, but if you take that out of the equation, what kind of impressed you the most from that time in the ring with Dmitry Bivol? For a lot of people, it's his footwork, it's his judging of distance, he's superb in the ring. What impressed you from working with Dmitry Bivol in sparring?
I mean, to be honest with you, I don't go in there and like, oh, I'm really impressed with what he does. You know, he moves around a lot. He keeps his distance. He uses his jab, and he has a good one too. And but other than that, you know, I was able to make my way in. You know, I was able to do what I do. But like I said, it's not really me really impressed with him. You know, I know he's a good fighter. So you know, that's when I get in there with a good fighter, I basically go to the next level myself because I don't treat the sparring sessions like sparring sessions. I treat them like real fights. You know what I mean? And anything could happen at any given moment. So I have to be extremely ready for whatever moment it is.
And David, just a couple of extras just from me. I'm sure you've been asked quite a bit about the Canelo and Terence Crawford fight, but I'm just interested to get your thoughts on, when you look at the success Terence had, a lot of people felt that if you and Canelo had ever fought, it might have been an even more dominant and emphatic victory for yourself. Do you feel like if you was in the ring on that night, it could have ended in a more severe or brutal or punishing way for Canelo Alvarez?
You know, I definitely feel like it. I felt like I've been saying for a long time that I'd go in there and give Canelo the hardest fight of his career, and he would definitely remember me. You know, I think what Terence Crawford was boxing more carefully. It wasn't. It's not like he put a beating on him. You know, he just basically outclassed him. But for me, he would definitely feel me, and he'd definitely remember me for the rest of his life.
Is there still a hope inside that you can get that fight, or have you moved beyond it now?
No, I think there's still. I mean, I'm not thinking about it right now. Obviously, I got my own path that cut out for me at light heavyweight and possibly cruiserweight. I think until Canelo retires and walks away from the sport, then that's when we would give up on the fight. But this is a fight that people are always going to want to see, no matter what. This is it makes sense on every side. It's a big money fight, big fight for the Mexican people, and big fight for the sport of boxing. So I mean, in my opinion, I'm in a better position than he is because he just lost all his titles. And now I have a WBC title, and then now I'm gonna be in the future. I'm gonna be fighting for the rest of the titles. So it's in good position. We're in good position right now. So I think in the future it definitely is possible. I don't give up on it until Canelo really walks away from the sport. Then that's what I say. It's done. But until Canelo retires, there's definitely a possibility that fight happen.
Obviously, Mexico's produced some unbelievable fights over the years, David. And when you consider a fight between yourself and Canelo Alvarez, where do you think that would rate? How high up the list do you think a fight between the pair of you would rate?
I think it rank at the top of the list. You know what I mean? Because Canelo's a great fighter. I'm a great fighter, but I just want to go in there and I want to show the world how good I am. I definitely want to go in there and I'll leave it all out in the ring. And I'm sure he'll leave it all in the ring too. I wouldn't be running from him. It'd be a two Mexicans going at it in the center of the ring. So it would definitely rank at the top for the Mexican fights.
Just whilst I've got you, obviously on the same night as yourself, Devin Haney and Brian Norman Jr., David, what's your take on that fight?
I think it's going to be a great fight, but I think Devin Haney, he has too much experience. He's fought a lot of great fighters, and that experience factor is definitely going to work in his favor. But he can't sleep on Brian Norman. Brian Norman is a great fighter with a lot of punching power, but I see Devin Haney winning that fight.
And a last one from me, Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul. David, what do you make of that exhibition bout?
I think it's going to be a crazy fight, man. I think Jake Paul needs to be careful because Gervonta Davis is Gervonta Davis. He has a lot of punching power. I mean, that's the one thing he does carry. I'm interested to see if it's really going to carry if he hits somebody that big like Jake Paul. But and then also, what if Jake Paul hits Gervonta Davis with a big shot? Because say what you want about Jake Paul, but he has a good right hook and he's heavy. I mean, he's going to be weighing at least close to 200, 205 pounds, and Gervonta Davis is like 140 pounds, 145. I don't think he's going to go more up than that. So it's a lot of big what ifs. Like, what if Gervonta catches Jake, and what if Jake catches Gervonta? So I guess it's going to be who gets caught first.
I know it's all hypothetical, David, but if ever there was a scenario where Jake's team were to reach out to you and offer you a fight, I know he's not got those titles and that recognition you'd want from it, but it'd be a big money fight for yourself. Would it be something you'd consider?
I'd definitely fight him. At the end of the day, I'm a fighter. I'll fight whoever wants to fight me. I'm not gonna lie and say that's a fight that I want. That's like, oh, let's make this fight Jake Paul. If it comes, it comes. But I'm more focused on winning the titles in my weight classes. But I mean, if he wants to fight me, I'm a fighter. I'll fight whoever.
David, it's a pleasure to catch up with you. Enjoy the rest of camp. Obviously, I'll see you out in Riyadh and good luck with what is to come in these coming weeks.
Thank you, brother. See you soon.